Progressive Caucus. The presidency is responsible for 8 functions, 11 task teams, and 6 SOEs, and it is here to ask for money. Deputy President, when you spoke last Friday, Floyd Shibambo, you characterized the sitting president as being a candidate for an award in fiction, best fiction in literary sciences. But you see, it doesn't look like you were heard about what you were diagnosing. I think we must have to upgrade the diagnosis and borrow from the ideological toolkit of Frantz Fanon. We may be dealing with psychosis, whose symptoms are delusions, illusions, because Zakes Mda, when he writes DP, he knows that he's writing fiction. But our candidate tonight truly believes in the delusions that he gives us. 1 million houses in Alex. He believes that. It's a proper belief. And Fanon teaches us about cognitive dissonance. That when you tell such a person who suffers from these symptoms the truth, they hold on so much to their core belief, they become agitated, uncomfortable. If you tell him now that he's wearing a blue tie, he may tell you he's convinced that he's not even dressed. Just today, after being warned of delusions, he comes to this platform and says, unsafe toilets have been replaced in 92% of schools needing safe toilets. The remaining 280 schools are scheduled for completion within this financial year. But the report of the Basic Education Department titled Education Facility Management System Report, published 3 July 2024, says there are 1,770 pit toilets, schools with pit toilets. 280, 1,770. This is not a candidate of fiction. We have passed the stage of fiction, and we are dealing with mental illness. That is why those who come here to defend him, that is why those who come to defend him.
Honorable Ndlozi, can you please take a seat behind you? Yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Honorable Ndlozi, on the podium is reflecting on the President's state of mind, and I think it's in violation of Rule 85 sub 1. 85 sub 1. I believe the rule is being violated by Honorable Ndlozi, Chair. Thank you.
He's not a medical doctor.
Thank you, honorable member. I think you were meant to quote Rule 84. That is unparliamentary and unacceptable language or gestures. And also, no member may use offensive, abusive, insulting, disrespectful, unbecoming, and unparliamentary words or language, nor offensive or unbecoming or threatening gestures. So, Honorable Ndlozi, please, when you take the podium, can you refrain from doing so, and please withdraw that.
With respect, Chair, what must I withdraw?
Withdraw calling the president.
Point of order. Point of order.
Honorable Shibam.
There is a ruling on that before. I'm sure, House Chair, with time you'll begin to appreciate some of the precedence issues on the rulings of this House. We had a contention in the 5th Parliament where they were...
Can you get closer to the mic because I can't hear you? You can sit, it's fine.
And I want to talk to you standing up. We have got precedents in this House where a word schizophrenia was utilized to characterize a member of Parliament. After a process of the Rules Committee and proper interpretation, even legal advice, it was concluded that such is a permissible word. And that exactly describes what Komisam Buisen is talking about now, of delusions, of illusions, of imaginary articulations that were made by someone here. And there is absolutely nothing wrong because precedence already has been set in terms of that ruling. So please don't do what you are doing now of saying you must withdraw because that is not consistent with the rules of this National Assembly. So your ruling is conclusively wrong. And you will realize when we then later on induct you in the Rules Committee of how these questions are handled. So please, let's allow the Speaker to proceed to characterize the phenomenon that we're dealing with now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Shibambu. Honorable Ndlozi, as I had said, that please refrain from using such insultive words from the podium. You may continue, but we will consult Hansard and later come back with the finding. Thank you.
Other cognitive dissonance and psychosis candidates, they are mere candidates at this stage.
Honorable
Honorable
Ndlozi,
Kumbuzo.
can you please take your seat again? There's another hand. Yes, Honorable Member.
Chairperson, I insist with respect to Rule 84 that Honorable Ndlozi must withdraw because he insulted the President, His Excellency. Listen, Chair, can I...
Honorable members, I can't now hear the point of order because you are drowning a member that have given a privilege to speak now. Please.
No, I'm arguing, Chair, that the Honorable Member Ndlozi must withdraw. He is insulting the President to say that psychosis, it has to do with the effect of the mind. So, yeah, it's a mental illness. That is not allowed, Honorable Chair, and it's parliamentary.
Thank you, Honorable Member, but I have made my ruling that will consult Hansard and a considered ruling will be made thereafter. Thank you. Continue, Honorable Ndlozi.
Other candidates of this mental phenomena is Honorable Kumbuzo, a admitted CR17 funds beneficiary, implicated in the Zondo report on Denel, and a local municipality. Perhaps you might want to consult with Honorable Tembi on the VBS question. She may educate you because she was a mayor when the funds were deposited of Polokwane local municipality to the bank. What was the purpose of building that bank? The President also says a lot about jobs, but the fact of the matter is in 2019 when you were sworn in, there were 16.3 million employed people. Today, there are 16.7 million people. The difference is about 400,000, not 2 million. Not 2 million. So even the numbers seem not to be correlating. The reality is there is no solution that is envisaged from the political and economic strategies of the current government because it does not centralize industrialization in macroeconomic planning, the development of the productive forces, the chronic problem of unemployment is only going to be resolved by a country that produces the things that it consumes. And therefore, you've got to centralize industrialization, which at the moment it's not happening. For an example, the public procurement bill does not align at all with industrialization. There is no mention of leveraging state procurement budget direct to reindustrialization. Instead, the bill seeks to place measures to address professional ethics, pricing issues, accountability, and transparency. You should use your buying capacity as the state to buy locally manufactured goods just from your procurement budget alone. That is not there. The Black Industrialist Program is actually the greatest and tragic joke on black people. In 2022, we received a report that there was an allocation of 36 billion rands for 1,000 black industrialists. If you take these figures at a nominal value, you are looking at 37 million rands per so-called black industrialist. Ford invested 12 billion, of which 4.5 was a government incentive test scheme benefit. to construct the Silverton plant in Pretoria, Toyota received 2.6 billion. 2.6 billion. And black people are expected to industrialize with 37 million. You see the joke there. The IDC was at the center of apartheid state-led development. It not only was creating companies like Sasol. Look at the industrial scale of Sasol. Perhaps there is a lack of understanding of what true industry is. The IDC was at the center of the creation of Sasol, was at the center of the creation and growth of ISCO. But since 1994, show me a single industry that the IDC started with the scale of ISCO, with the scale of Sasol. Your chronic levels of unemployment can only be resolved by a bold step, such as using the IDC within the Department of Trade and Industry to create large-scale industrial projects the size of Sasol and ISCO. But also, when you're talking about investments and markets, the BRICS countries are where you should go. Your relationship with the West has been the most crippling economically. The West only wants your minerals. The West only wants you to consume its finished products. Even the market, consumer market of over 1.2 billion people in the continent of Africa, they still get products from their former colonizers. But China is the one that is developing. In the last 20 years, they are responsible for large-scale infrastructure projects across the world. They are the ones that are building the biggest, most sophisticated infrastructure projects than anyone else. So if you want to industrialize, you've got to look to the BRICS countries. You've got to go to China and literally request build, operate, and transfer projects. So if you want to build a train from Durban to Musina, Mr. President, perhaps you do not enter into the delusion of repeating the same thing that you've been doing over the last 30 years as the ANC. Go to China. The people of China will build a speed train in less than a year, and then it will occur from Durban to Musina. The industrialization project must also be at the center of the competition laws. For an example, competition laws are not the instrument of transformation. Even when they are in place, price fixing, collusion, market power abuse, price discrimination, and monopoly industries continue. When the Competition Commission makes findings, the Finance Minister has the power to overrule them. When the Competition Commission identified that the private sector health market was abusing its power through price fixing and monopolization, nothing happened to them. That tells you the power of these industries. If you want to heal, Mr. President, from this emerging mental condition within the GNU, perhaps you must come back tomorrow with a concrete admission that business cannot be usual. Otherwise, we will interrogate and scrutinize the state of your mind to the end. Thank you very much.
You are not a
I will now invite
President Bagaitsu Dumelang. Mr. President, I have heard you extensively speak in this House about how we need to be builders. And I thought it'd be opportune for me to say it's precisely why we started Build One South Africa. So if it's possible, I would like to offer you an honorary membership, and perhaps we can build this country going forward. May I highlight, honorable members, that ultimately, if we are going to build, the dynamic of one is important. And nditsho njalo, Mr. President, ngoba ngomgqibelo bendiphaya eSamora. Abantu baseSamora imvula ibamoshile. Balambile, abanamisebenzi, kunzima pha. Xa ukhangela aba bantu bathi kum, Mr. Maimane, apha kulo ndlu yeParliamente imvula inethi, ukutya kukhona, anisokoli. It highlights the very point that this country faces, is that there are two South Africas or multiple South Africas. Our job, and I'd like to suggest, if we are going to create national unity, let's create national purpose. And let me speak about a few things that I think are going to be important for us to achieve. Deputy President Mashadil, as leader of government business, I want to ask you, the fault with the NDP was that much of the strategic objectives were not aligned to APPs. In fact, 45% to be exact, with 25% today being indicated as complete. If we are going to succeed, let's align on those. Mr. President, I want to urge that, particularly on this issue of state-owned enterprises, I want to speak just on two. The first is Eskom. It's clear that, in fact, we've got to not only transition from coal-intensive projects to perhaps sustainable energy, but I'd like to urge that we reject the demanded increase by NERSA. Because if we fail to do that, South Africans such as those who live in Samora are going to be double taxed. They are paying on a bailout on one end, and on another end, they are being asked to finance a high increase. The second is Transnet. Our people spend too much money getting to work. Let's fix PRASA so that at least there are trains getting people to work, so that at least whatever disbursements we give South Africans as a social wage, it can go further and not face up to the inflationary pressures that we see. Thirdly, I think the people of Samora would highlight the fact that the ratio of policing relative to their lives is 1:450, which is woefully higher relative to how many police we allocate even to VIP protection. May I urge, Mr. President, in my hometown in Dobsonville, it's 1:1,200. I want to urge that let's rather invest more in the safety of South Africans. Our people are paying protection fees at home. They are having to say to people, how do I get to work if I'm not protected? Lastly, we're going to have, in fact, I'd like to ask that we introduce a national civilian service, Mr. President. You've spoken about projects like the YES projects and many others. Let's introduce a one-year mandatory program for young people so that they can spend a year interning and ultimately be able to work. This will give a sense of national significance for many young people, but an opportunity for them to work. I close with the call I'd made earlier. If we are going to have a national dialogue, which I would endorse, Mr. President, let it be a dialogue between the rich and the poor. Poor must be included in the dialogue. If we fail to have the dialogue with them, the poor will eat the rich. And lastly, I know I said that, you will chair the G20 summit. Let's maximize South Africa's investment potential globally, make it possible that we use that summit, not as a talk shop, but as an opportunity for South Africa and
Honorable
Africa.
Maiman.
Ke a leboga, Mo President.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ke a leboha, Mhlomphei. Ke batla ho dumedisa baetapele ba Progressive Caucus. Kajeko re tlo bolela ka dissolution. Re batla ho bolela ka dissolutions that will aim to see the economy transformed and jobs to be created. Firstly, the government must be deliberate in opening up the economy in order to have more players. It cannot be, Mr. President, that the economy is concentrated in few hands. Go to the Eastern Cape. Majority of the roads in the Eastern Cape are built by H&I. The national departments spent over 8.9 billion on cleaning, gardening, and fumigation, and majority of this money went to Ubidvest. We, as the ATM, want to make it clear, Mr. President, that once we as the lawmakers pass the appropriation bill to give your government the power to spend the money, to spend taxpayers' money, and you sign it to law, you as the head of the executive must direct your government to spend a certain percentage on SMMEs. Your predecessor said it must be 30%. We say it must be 50%. The state must be the driver of economic transformation by strategically using its spending to create more diverse players in the economy. The state has over 2 trillion budget per annum, which is largely spent on big, white businesses. Thomas Sankara, who transformed Burkina Faso in under 3 years, was very clear when he said, we need to consume what we produce and produce what we consume. South Africa is a destination of goods that are produced elsewhere. We are importing goods that we should be producing locally. We are even importing toothpicks. The local production of goods will industrialize the economy, create jobs, and grow the economy. Basic goods like soap, toilet paper, and candles must be produced in each district in the country. This way, the economy of the country will circulate amongst different districts in the country as well as different companies. Mr. President, the infrastructure is there. Go to eQuaqwa, eGcuwa, go to Edimbaza, Nkangala Industrial Park. The factories infrastructure is there. The market is there because people are consuming these goods on a daily basis. What is needed, it is political will to fund black industrialists to reopen these factories and create the much needed jobs across our country. Government intervention is also necessary to direct the spending of goods like school uniform, stationery from small businesses, instead of having one company that is dominating that particular sector. If your child goes to a private school, that private school will tell you where to buy the uniform and where to buy the stationery. We are saying, Tina, as the ATM, the government can equally do the same thing by redirecting the uniform from all the schools in the municipalities to be procured from SMMEs and cooperatives from the very same municipalities. These interventions, Mr. President, will create the much needed jobs. Jobs are not going to be created by big buzzwords. They are going to be created by practical programs. We have an economy in our country whereby all sectors are dominated by between 5 and 7 companies, and that leads to price fixing, low economic growth. Mr. President, the economy must be transformed. Do not fear to transform the economy. The apartheid government was deliberate when it was transforming the economy by spending on salam. You, Mr. President, equally do so when it comes to black companies. Thank you.
Why are you shouting?
The next speaker is the Honourable
Mr. President, Deputy President, honourable members. Indeed, we are going through a particular phase. As I stand here, I'm worried about the risk of us being diverted. I was listening, for instance, to a man who doesn't want to be called a judge. Now I understand why he doesn't want to. He says we should borrow money from BRICS. He thinks we don't because he doesn't have records. That's why he says we should do so.
Order, honourable members. Order.
The man who does not want to be called a judge says, why don't we order oil from Iran? He says, I am told it is cheap. It means he didn't check it. Now you can go and listen to yourselves. He says, I am told it's cheap. He didn't check it, but he wants to advise an august house to do that. But let me read something for you. Let me read something for you.
Order, honourable members.
Let me read something to you. When was the oil cut with Iran? It's 2nd August 2012. The president yayingubaba. Ningilalela. That is when the oil was cut with Iran. So, it's because the man who does not want to be called a judge, he is very casual in this house. Because uthetha nje. Yeah. For instance, uba uNdlela engimthanda kakhulu. Uzositshela ngobaba and attack the president for keeping people who are appointed in Zondo Commission. But you are led here in this party by somebody who's before court for numerous charges of corruption.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members.
Right? Okay. The president of the ANC has not been charged by any court. As a matter of fact,
order, honorable members. Order.
Let's go to, I listened to the commander-in-chief when he explained his knowledge of the NUM and how the president left NUM in tatters, workers' week, and all that. I just want to converse with Commander-in-Chief for a minute or two. NUM eliminated faction fight in the mines and united mine workers. NUM in 1987 secured a retirement fund for the first time for black workers. NUM fought against job reservation and fought for women to be employed. Through the J.B. Marks bursary, NUM has produced over 5,000 graduates, including engineers and different types of technicians in accounting. The Mine Workers Provident Fund has assets in excess of 32 billion and have never delivered a negative return to its members since inception. I am not surprised that you didn't care about these facts, because by nature, you don't care about facts. I'll give you an example. Judge Thorpe here, I was just during break, I listened to you, Chief Commander-in-Chief, as you said, Judge Thorpe Honorable Thorpe is an embarrassment to the integrity of the justice system. You said by yourself. Later, you tell how black people are targeted in the justice system. It comes from the same mouth, and you say you tell the truth all the time. And this is the kind of truth you tell. Now, there was a commission in as far as Marikana is concerned. And the commission pronounced. And you don't care about that pronouncement because it does not articulate what you expected. Newgate Commission, Judge Newgate pronounced on SARS, on what sank SARS. But what sank SARS in this house is your idol. The president submitted Zondo Commission report to be interrogated by this house. It is the duty of this house to call the presidency at all material time to ensure that that report is interrogated. Now, the president in the State of the Nation address tabled here the amount of billions frozen and brought back to the state, because they don't say what you want, you do not care. Now, the problem is we are on a course here towards a nation building. One of the presidents of the ANC once said, "You will never fight a racially exclusive oppression through a racially exclusive resistance." And the same president said, "The difference between us and the oppressor is that the oppressor is about human division and we are about the alliance of humanity." I'm therefore not surprised when I go back to the NDR in dealing with the contradictions, with the antagonistic contradictions. It is given the task that is national and democratic to do the following: to ensure that we realize a shared prosperity, social justice, and human solidarity. The African National Congress leadership is about leading this country from the morass of both racial inferiority and racial superiority. Your crisis is you are scared of sharing a table with white people because
Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members. Order, honorable members.
Your struggle.
Honorable Deputy Minister.
Yes.
Will you just take your seat? I want to recognize the member. Honorable member, why do you want to be recognized? May I also request that those members sitting around you just quiet down so that I can hear you?
Sihlalo ilunga elingaphambili likhuluma okungasiqiniso. Thina ngeke sihlale nama oppressors abantu abaqindisela umuntu omnyama. Angeke sihlale.
Honorable member, take your seat. That's not a point of order. Take your seat, honorable member.
Nabantu abaqindisela
Honorable member, take your seat. Honorable members, please do not abuse a point of order to challenge a political statement. Political statements by its nature is for debate. It's not a point of order. Please proceed, Honorable Deputy Minister.
The challenge you have is that because of your racial inferiority complex, you think if you have a common agreement with Honorable Steyensen,
Honorable Deputy
social empowerment.
Will you take your seat, please?
Because
Honorable Deputy Minister, take your seat, please. Honorable member, why do you want to be recognized?
Mgcinisihlalo. Hayi. Ngizokupha ke irule emnandi la. Uyabona 40% ibhlungu. Yenza umuntu akhulume kanje.
What rule?
Ngiyabonga Mgcinisihlalo.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, each and every member in the House have the right to free speech. It doesn't mean that if you disagree with that member, that there's a contravention of the rule. Let us respect the members to exercise their rights. They've been sent here by the political parties. Please continue, honorable member.
Let me quickly repeat what I was saying. It says these three elements are premised on united states based on the will of the people, irrespective of belief and race. The code and the education of our movement is that we must lead this country away from correct the iniquities of the past as we lead it to an inclusive society. You are scared of non-racism because you are so inferior
Honorable
in your
Deputy
mind.
Minister, please take your seat. Why are you rising, Honorable Member?
If it was not for the CR faction,
Take
you
your
would
seat,
not be
Honorable
a
Member.
minister.
Take your
You are
seat.
an embarrassment.
Honorable Member.
What kind of a minister are
Honorable
you?
Member, take your
A
seat.
huge embarrassment.
Honorable Member, Honorable Members, Honorable Members, let me remind you of Rule 92, Sub-Rule 9. And it says that members may not disrupt proceedings by raising points of order that do not comply with the intention of a point of order. So I have the discretion, honorable members, that if you do abuse this point of order rule, to ask you to leave the chamber. Please continue, Honorable Deputy Minister.
To the African National Congress, non-racism is not a ticker box. It's a principle, it's a value for which our forebears lost their lives. Because the past South Africa divided us in terms of those groupings. Our forebears committed, made an undertaking, and lost their lives. We are working with all South African
Honorable
based...
Deputy Minister, will you take your seat, please? Yes, Honorable Member. Please take your seat, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Honorable Chair, this minister is deliberately misleading the House. Non-racialism does not mean capitulation to the oppressor.
Honorable Member.
Non-racialism means
Order.
to fight the oppressor.
Order, Honorable Member.
About change.
Honorable Member, will
This
you...
man is lying.
Honorable Member.
He's lying with a straight face.
Honorable Member, you must withdraw the remark that you say the Deputy Minister is deliberately misleading the House. I expect you withdraw the remark.
Okay, he's just misleading the House.
Thank you. Please continue, Honorable Deputy Minister.
It's a contestation for comment.
So, we are committed to a non-racial South Africa. Now, I want to repeat what you don't want to hear. I want to repeat so that it sticks. That we are not going to change the course we are taking now of leading a GNU that has got 10 stones, according to Reverend, that Mr. President, 6 days has gone, the 7th days you've got 10 stones, and they constitute a GNU, blacks, white, purple, brown, as per the revolutionary principles of the African National Congress. Here on this side, we've got leaders who are mentally liberated from racial and ethnic fear, who are committed to make sure that this country is one. Now, having said all that,
it's not true.
So I want to say to you, we are saying to the President, 3 priorities have been articulated. Growing economy, creating jobs. Dealing with poverty and cost
Honorable
of living.
Deputy Minister, will you take your seat?
Dealing with...
Honorable Deputy Minister, will you please take your seat? Yes, Honorable Member, why do you want to be recognized?
Honorable Member.
On what point are you rising, Honorable Member?
It's Chair, it is a question. If you
No,
can help
Honorable
me,
Member, there's no
guidance.
time for questions now. It's no time for questions.
He refers to us as being inferior.
No, Honorable Member.
Because we don't sit across races.
Honorable Member, you are now challenging me.
Oh, Chair.
You're now challenging my authority to preside over the sitting. The member further down, why do you want to be recognized?
Already shut up.
Thank you, House Chair. I rise on...
Chair, this one must shut up.
No. You see, do not commit also a transgression of the rule, because then you are doing exactly the same thing. Let's not go to that level, please. What is your point of order, Honorable Member?
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. I rise in terms of Rule 85, reflections upon members. It says that no member may impute improper motives to any other member. The Speaker there suggests that members on this side have an inferiority complex, which is wrong, it's misleading, and you need
Thank you,
to
Honourable Member.
withdraw
Please take your
that
seat.
statement. I thank you.
Honourable Deputy Minister. Honourable Deputy Minister, did you refer, order, did you refer to any member in this House with the statement you made? Honourable Deputy Minister?
No, I'm saying.
Honourable Deputy Minister, did you or did you not refer to any member of this House?
How? I'm saying the reason you are scared of living with them.
No, Honourable Deputy Minister, relax, just calm down, please. I will check the answer. The Honourable Deputy Minister says no, so the next thing that we do is we check the answer to see what the Honourable Deputy Minister has said, and then I'll come back with a ruling, if I need to. Honourable Deputy Minister?
So, I repeat, Mr. President, you must be relaxed because 10 stones. Kamaya magama eBhayibhelini bathi awona matye awacekiswayo alilinyanga ngokwalishumi. Ndithi ingxaki esinayo apha niduduzeliswa kukuhlala endaweni enye nabamhlophe. Nincancazeliswa yilonto. Ngoba uba beningayoyiki lonto benizawuhlala nabo nibaxelele into eningazifuniyo.
Honourable Deputy Minister, will you take your seat, please? Honourable Member, why do you want to be recognized?
Reverend Nkwabaza. Uthinta iBhayibheli lo baba honorable. Ukhuluma ngamatshe ayishumi.
That's not a point of order. It is not a point of order. It is not a point of order.
Insimba
it is not a point of order. Honourable Member, it is not a point of order. Honourable Deputy Minister, please continue.
I want to close by saying to Mr. President, it must be according to a United States based on humanity, irrespective of race, irrespective of sex and color, as long as it's along those lines, as long as the three priorities are driven along those lines, indeed, they are also going to be saved. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Order, Honourable Members. Order.